Hi, boys and girls. It's Wednesday with Principal Sotero. How are you after this long weekend? Well, today we're going to do, can you count how many fingers you have on your one hand? 5. That's 5 ingredients today. So I found this pretty cool recipe and I haven't made peanut butter cookies in a long time. I love peanut butter, and I know we've used peanut butter before when we've done oatmeal peanut butter cookies. Well, this one only has 5 ingredients, so I thought it'd be fun for us to do today. So the first thing we're going to do is put the dry ingredients. Those are all the ingredients that are not wet or have moisture to it. So I need to have 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. So you may have another recipe for peanut butter cookies because children love peanut butter cookies, right? But this one calls for coconut flour, so I just need 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to start there. And remember, we've learned with baking that you really have to make sure it's even. So there's 1. And it is dry, right? There's no moisture or wetness to it. This needs a little bit more. And there we go. And 2. So we're done with that. So that's just 2 of the coconut flour. Then I need to have a cup of sugar. So I always use stevia sugar. So one of the things I'm doing today is I'm going to talk about our fractions. We learn fractions all the time. And I'm telling you, when you're baking and cooking, you need to know those fractions. That's why your teacher's teaching you. We need it for the rest of our lives. So I need to have 1 cup. So I have 3/4 cups. That means I'm not quite to a cup yet. And a 1/4 cup equals 1 whole cup. Now, if I have 2 half cups, that equals 1 cup. Here is 1 giant cup. So that's 1 full cup. 2 of these equals that. Or I want you to see that a 3/4 cup, that's 3/4, or 1/4 cup equals that whole cup. So today we're going to use the 3/4 cup and the 1/4 cup to equal 1 whole. Okay? So if you think about it like a dollar. So a whole dollar is 75 cents plus 25 cents equals $1. So I kind of think of it that way. All right, so I'm going to just use this measuring cup to make sure I pour in. Oops, I got to be careful. Remember, we want to be careful with that measurement. So there is a 3/4 cup. And remember, 3/4 cup plus 1/4 equals 1 whole. Just think of it like money, okay? That always helps me, especially when we're learning about quarters and we're adding up coins. And there we go. So there is my 1 cup. I can put that to the side. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss that around. I'll use my whisk. I like that. We won't have to use a really hard whisk grasp because it's pretty light, right? So it's just a little bit of tossing, and I'm just making sure that the coconut flour and the sugar's all together. You can also sift it. Oh, I just got a new sifter. I'm so excited. So you can actually sift it and have them just so that the 2 dry ingredients are really well blended. But I'm just going to do it with my whisk today. All right. Oh, I can smell the coconut flour. You know, it smells so delicious. But remember, if you're at home, you could use regular flour too, and your mom might have a slightly different recipe when it comes to making peanut butter cookies. And I could put that up too for you, but I just want to let you know. So Mrs. Terrell does a lot of keto, and so that just kind of helps me with how much sugar I have inside. And your moms or dads or grandmas might do it too. And boys and girls, you know, we're always careful about our sugar. All right, so I have baking soda next. So I only need, what was that? I only needed a 1/2 teaspoon. So remember, 1/2 teaspoon is 1/2. And if I had 2 half teaspoons, it would equal 1. Very good. What if I had a 3/4 teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon? That would equal 1/2, just like the cups. So I'm going to pour that in there, or just kind of sprinkle in there. And then I'm just going to toss that so they remember, that means my oven is hot enough, that little beeping. So now I have 3 ingredients here. It's all dry. Remember, no liquid, Nothing with moisture. So you see it's just my dry, and I'm making sure my 3 ingredients are really well blended. But I can smell the coconut flour. So the next thing, oh, I made a little mess. That happens. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my peanut butter. 1 cup of peanut butter. So you remember we talked about this. You can use any type of peanut butter that you want. So I have 1 cup. I'm going to plop that right in there. And why is it called peanut butter cookies? Well, there's a lot of peanut butter in there, right? That's our main star. Just like if we do chocolate chip cookies, who's the main star? The chocolate chips. That's right. So I will have that, and then I'm going to add 1 egg. That gives me 3 dry ingredients plus the 2 equals 5, right? You guys are so smart. All right, remember, we're just going to open that, get all of the yolk and all of the white goodness out of there. All right, so now I'm going to try to get this all together, because now we have some moisture in there, don't we? So we have the egg whites, we have the yolk in there, and that's our liquid. And then the moist peanut butter. I know boys and girls love peanut butter. We have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, yum. Peanut butter bananas, yum. And you might have another fixture that you like to have peanut butter with. I heard some teachers using some peanut butter when they make smoothies. And I bet you that's really good with fruit, right? It's getting super creamy. I'm going to show you this in a minute. And now it really came together nicely. So I want to just show you this. So, all right. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit more coconut flour, because we're going to have to roll this in a ball. I want to show you. See, it's really moist. I don't know if I can roll that in a ball. So I want to show you. I'm thinking I'm going to add just a pinch more flour in there so that when I roll it, it won't stick to my hands and be all gummy. All right. So I put a little extra flour in there, and sometimes I do that. Like moms and grandmas and dads might do that when they're making cookies. They might add a little bit more flour and put it right on the surface. So I'll just add a pinch more. Okay. And there we go. Because it only called for 2 tablespoons, but I'm just going to add a pinch more. And I think that's good. Let's try it out. I haven't done this before. Remember, when we're rolling it, what is that important fact? We always wash our hands first, count to 20, sing happy birthday twice. Look at, this is what I was afraid of. Look, I wanted to show you. Do you see how it's sticky? Can I roll that in a ball? No way, Mrs. Sotero. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more flour to this particular recipe. I've never done this recipe before. So sometimes I'll do a recipe for the very first time with you boys and girls. And hey, we learn as we go. So I could tell it was a little too moist, and that's exactly what I was afraid of. We don't want that. So here we go. All right, it's getting a little bit better. And I think it might need even a pinch. Now that's better. You see how that's sticking together? But I still have a feeling that if I put it in my hands, it's going to be like this. I'm going to just wash my hands right now because, I don't like that yucky feeling. Kind of like when you have soft Play-Doh. You know, you love to play with it, and then if it sticks to your hands, you just can't wait to wash them off. So I'm going to just stick a pinch more flour in there. Flour will help you if it feels like it's too moist. So I'll sprinkle a pinch more in there. So I'm really changing this recipe. Now I'm not even measuring because the other part had exact measurements, but this one I'm doing by my eye saying, it's too moist. And I know that flour will help it to get a little stiffer so that I can actually roll it. So I did change this recipe. Now I've got to figure out how much extra flour I used, right? That happens. I cook like that a lot. I take this recipe and I add something else, and then I add a little dash of this and a pinch of that. And usually for baking, I'm always very careful about measuring because that's a really important part about baking. When you're cooking, you can add a pinch this or that. So I don't know what this is going to taste like or come out like. So remember, boys and girls, this is the first time I'm doing this. Let's see. All right, I think that's better. And I'll just put a little bit of flour in my hands. And let's see how we're doing. Yeah, see, that's what we want. Do you see this? I just have a little bit on there. But you see, I can actually roll it in a ball. And in this recipe, it says I should get 12 balls. And remember, we talked about that. 12 equals a dozen. So if this ball's too big, I'll make it a pinch smaller. So there's one ball. I could tell right away when I looked at the other part, it was going to be way, way, way too sticky. All right, I think this one's not the same size, so I'm going to take a little bit. One thing I do know, that if you want them to bake the same, they have to be the same size. I hear all the time when I'm watching a cooking show, oh my, just make sure you're cutting them all the same. So I'll roll that, and I'll be rolling the rest of these. Oh, that one needs a little bit more. So one, I feel like Goldilocks. One was too big, one was just right, one was too small. So anyway, that one's still too small. I do feel like Goldilocks. All right, so let's roll him a pinch more. And I have parchment paper down, and this way, when you do the parchment paper, it doesn't stick. I'm gonna rinse my hands and then just show you how we're gonna crisscross right on our cookie. So I kind of just take my fork and I put a little bit of flour on it, and you crisscross it. So you press down one way, and I'm going to use a little more flour, and you press down the opposite way so it makes like a cross. So now I have that little imprint. Did you ever wonder where those markings came from when you had a peanut butter cookie? Well, that's how they do it. Pretty simple. So there we go. And I press it down this way, and then I press it down the opposite way. And now I'll show you my marks. So that's what your cookies look like. Now I notice this one, you see how I'm comparing them? This one is a little bit bigger. He's still too big. So I'm going to take off a pinch. I don't want them to burn. I don't want one to be too chewy or not done and the other one's perfect, right? So I have 3 here. I'll roll out the rest, put them on here. I put my oven on 350, and then I'm going to bake them for about 10 minutes. That's it. And then I'll take a picture when they're all magically done and let you know how tasty I thought they were. Now what I have to figure out, I poured a little bit more flour in there, didn't I? And I don't know how much, so I'm going to have to do this recipe and figure out by teaspoon. Did I add 1 more teaspoon? Did I add 1/4 teaspoon or 3/4? So I'm going to figure that out, so when I send out my recipe, we'll know exactly it is. Now when you're doing it with your peanut butter cookies at home with regular flour, you probably won't have this problem because coconut flour has a sweetness to it, and it's not like regular white flour. So I'll do some research. That means just like you guys, I'm going to learn, oh, do I have to add less white flour than coconut flour, or is it the other way around? But anyway, peanut butter cookies are so simple. Remember, we only had 5 ingredients today. It went really fast too. So I'll finish this up. I'll put it in the oven. Can't wait to have one today. I'm so hungry. And then I'll send you a picture of what mine is done. Boys and girls, I received so many wonderful pictures of boys and girls making egg muffins last week. And you know what? Some were using cheese and bacon and vegetables. I was so proud of you. And when you sent me the picture, they puffed up beautifully. Delicious. You did an awesome job. So I will send you that picture. But for now, don't forget, we're using this recipe with 5 ingredients. And then I will do some research looking up what kind of white flour you can use and how much that is. Or maybe your mom or dad or grandma have a recipe too. All right, don't forget what we talked about. We talked about 3/4 cups and 1/4 cup makes 1 whole cup. Kind of like coins, remember? 75 cents plus the 25 cents makes $1. Because really 75 cents is 3/4 of a dollar. So it's just the same in measurements when you're doing cups. And it's the same when we're doing teaspoons. Same thing. 1/4, 1/2, and or 3/4. So pretty cool stuff. That's why your teachers are always trying to help you learn about fractions and measurements. So important, isn't it, boys and girls? All right, well, have a great learning day. And this is the end of our session today. Bye.